Hello everyone, thanks for joining me in today's video. In today's video, we are going to create this very simple and minimalistic looking stock photos page. Now the header of this page has got this nice micro interaction. Following that, you have this search bar, you have upload button, and then all the images on this page are laid out in a responsive grid system. That is, okay, I'll show you the magic. You resize your web page and the images gets adjusted accordingly. So let's get started. Okay, so on the right we have our web browser opened up with live server running on it, and on the left we have our Sublime text editor opened up with index.html, style.css and design.txt files. Design.txt just has a bunch of it is a link to Google fonts that we'll be using in our design. And yeah, style.css is empty. Index.html we have initially we have title tag which just says stock photos page. Then we some bunch of meta tags. Then this link tag links our style.css to our index.html. And then in the body we have the script tag, which is kind of redundant for this project because we won't be using JavaScript. So let's get started with HTML part of the story. And I forgot to mention that this is our inspiration for this design. It's again from uidesigndaily.com, and it's a pretty neat and simple design. So let's go ahead and implement it. First thing that we will need in our HTML is this header, right? So let's create the header, but before that let's put everything inside a container. So let's create that div tag. Let's give it a class of container, and inside that let's create our header. Okay, we'll create an unordered list, and inside that we'll have our li elements, and inside that we'll have our anchor tags. First one is vector. Let's duplicate this line. Then we have illustrations. Okay. Following that we have images, and then we have icons. Okay. Let's see how this looks. Pretty bad. Okay. We'll fix that. Okay, after that we have our search and upload. So let's create that. Let's give it a div tag. Let's get a class of search and upload. Pretty big name, that's fine. Then we have our search bar. So again we'll create it using div tag class search, and inside that we'll create an input which would be for our search. Input type is text. Let's give a placeholder of search, capital S. Okay, how does that look? Okay, and then we have this icon for search. I have already downloaded that, and its name is search -line. So let's add that. Again, okay, we'll use image tag. Here it's called search -line. Okay, let's see if we got it. Okay, I didn't put the extension .png. There we go. Okay, and then we have a button, so that will put outside this div tag, and okay, it says upload. Okay, there you go. So we have a button also. After that we have 6 images, so let's create that. Again we'll create another div tag. Let's get a class of image container, and inside that we'll create another div tag. Let's get a class of image div, and inside that let's create our image. I mean, we won't create the image, we'll just link it. And I have named them. So I have downloaded these 6 images from pexel.com, where you can find free images, and I just renamed them as image 1 2 3 4 5 6, so it's convenient for us to type. I'll just say image1.jpg. I think that's what the name is. Let me just save it and see. Yeah, so we have our image also coming up, and then we'll just copy paste this thing 6 times so that we have all of our images. 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, let's change it to image 2, image 3, image 4, image 5 and image 6. Alright, let's see. So we have first image, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth. Yeah, so we have all the images here. Okay, so I think that's all we need from HTML. Let's go to style.css for styling, and this looks pretty bad, so let's fix that. First, let's do our basic styling. Star, padding 0, margin 0 and box sizing border box. Okay, then let's put our fonts. Control C. This is again an import link for our Google fonts called Cooling Park that we normally use, and we'll put that in our all the elements. So we'll just say font family Cooling Park, okay, comma, if that doesn't load, sans serif. Okay, let's go ahead and start our body. Let's make it a flex element. So inside body we have just one div tag. I mean, direct child of body is one div tag, so it will just center it. So let's make a let's make our body flex element, and so for that we'll do display flex, align item center, justify content center. So that way our this div container will be centered. Let's give it a height of 100 viewport height, and let's put some padding of, let's say, 20 pixels. Okay, now the full layout is kind of messed up, but don't worry, we'll fix it. So that's the part of body. After that, let's style our container. Let's give it a height of 100 viewport height again, and I think it should be fine. Okay, let's give it some width. No width, let's say 90 viewport width. Okay, there we go. So at least we have our initial header, which kind of disappeared, came back, and then we have our all the images, right? Okay, where is the button? Okay, there is the button. So we have everything. Okay, next thing what we should do, okay, let's go ahead and style our header. Okay, so for that, inside container, what was the class? Okay, we didn't get any class, this is just HTML element. So let's style that. We'll select it using header curly braces, and then okay, what we should do first, let's make it a flex element. So we'll do display flex, align item center, justify content center. Okay, that centers it, but that's of no use. Let's just move it to the end. So we'll just say flex end. Okay, because that's where we want this all header to be, right, towards the right. Okay, next thing, we don't want our list to show up like this. We want them to be placed side by side. So that's our UL element. So we have to make our UL element also flex. Let's do that, header UL. So that is so what this signifies is that is UL, which is a descendant of header. Let's make it a flex element. So we'll do display flex, align, oh, not animation delay, align, oh my god, align item center, justify content center. Okay, let's remove the dots, header UL li list style, no. Okay, let's remove the underlines also. So for that we have to do header UL lia text decoration, no. Okay, so that is also taken care of. Now all of our li elements are kind of very close to each other, so we need to add a little bit of padding. So let's do that here, padding. Let's not do padding, let's do margins. Okay, so margin 20 pixels. Okay, let's add a little bit of margin top or more, so that you know, live servers, whatever that temporary thing doesn't block our view. Let's make it 50, and then let's do 20 pixel to the right, and again 50 pixel to the bottom. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks good. Okay, what else do we have to do here? Okay, let's change the font also. Okay, the font color, I mean, we want it to be black, right? I think it's all black. So okay, here let's change the color as 000000. Okay, next thing, we want this little bit of dash underneath the link tag. So once we hover over this individual elements, we want that underline. We will use a pseudo class called hover, and then we will create a pseudo element called after on this li element. So let's do that. Let me just copy this thing, copy, paste, and on li let's add a hover pseudo class, and then let's create a pseudo after element. Okay, let's just save it. First thing, in the when you are creating a pseudo after element, is you need to put an empty element. After that, let's position this thing as absolute, but when you're putting this as absolute, we need to make this li position relative. Okay, let's add background color black 000000. Okay, let's give it a height of 2 pixel. Let's give it a width of 100%. Okay, can you see anything here? Oh, it is placed some weird location. Let's change it to bottom 0 and left 0. Okay, there we go. So now we have it at correct position, but let's add a little bit of padding. Let's say padding top of, let's say 3 pixel. How does that look? That doesn't look good. I think let's add it here. What do you see? Okay, let's add it here, padding bottom. Or should we add margin? Let's see how that looks. Okay, that looks good. Okay, so there we have. So there we have the underline that we are seeing here. So next thing that we want to do is we want to style our search and upload bar. So I think we are done with the header. Let's go ahead and style our search and upload. So let's do that. What's the class that we gave there? I think it's called search and upload. Again, we'll make it this thing a flex element, and then we'll space these elements apart, right? So let's do that. Dot control V. Let's make it a flex element. Display flex. Align item center. Justify content center. Not center. We'll just say space. Okay, there we go. So that by doing this, button goes to the right, and then we have search and the icon on the left. Icon is way too large, so let's just make it a bit smaller. Okay, so the next class that we have is search, so let's do it using that. So we'll just say search image img. Let's give it a height of, okay, let's set its width of 20 pixel, and let's give height as auto, so that the aspect ratio is maintained. There we go. Okay. What else? Now let's style our search bar. Okay, so we'll do it using dot search. Let's give it a, what do we need here? Now we need to style our input element, right? So search input, let's give it a height of, let's say 30 pixel. Okay, let's give its width as maybe 150 pixel. Is that good enough? No, it's too short. Let's make it 250. That looks good. Okay, and we don't want any border, so let's remove that. Border none. Okay, let's put some padding also. Let's say padding left. so that way our placeholder is not kind of stuck to the left. Let's put 20 pixel. Okay, now we want some gap here, right, between the search and upload bar and then whatever images we have. So for that we'll use this Control C. I think we already have it, so let's put a bit of margin bottom, let's say 30 pixel. Okay, and then to the search, let's add a border bottom. Search, let's add border bottom, let's say 2 pixels solid, and let's give it a light color, E1. How does that look? Let's make it a bit more darker, B. How about that? Okay. Okay, let's not give this our input padding of 20, let's give it padding of 10. Okay, now that looks good, right? So our we are kind of done with this search bar also. I think let's increase the padding a little bit on the top also and on the bottom also. So for that, what you have to do, margin bottom, let's make it 50. Okay, and let's put some margin top also, some margin top, let's say 20 pixel. Okay, that looks much better. Okay, next thing, let's go ahead and style our button. For that we'll just say button, let's give it a height of 40 pixel, width, let's give it 100 pixel. Okay, make it 150. There we go. Let's give it a border radius of, let's say 3 pixel. Okay, border none, we don't want any border none. Let's change the background color to black. Okay, let's say background color has 000000. Okay, now the font goes away, so let's change the color of the font to white, #FF. Okay, there we go. And then we have a little bit of shadow to this button, so let's add that, and we will use this color or this color. Okay, so let's go here, and then we'll just say box shadow. We don't want any horizontal offset. Let's have 5 pixel of vertical offset. Blur, let's make 5 pixel also, and then we'll say -5 pixel. I think that's spread, right? Yeah, that's, I think, spread. Oh well, I can't see the shadow. Let's make this offset 15. Yeah, there we go. So there we have a shadow. Let's add some micro interaction, I think. Right, so we'll say button hover. Let's make my cursor as pointer. Do we get a pointer? Yeah. And then nothing happens when I click it. So for that, let's add some button active as. Let's transform the button. Transform scale little bit smaller, 0.98. How does that look? Okay, that's good. So web page is kind of taking shape. We have our header sorted out, we have button having some micro interaction, and we have our search bar also styled properly. Finally, let's style our images. Okay, so what's the class that we have here? We have it as image container. So let's Control C dot Control V. Okay, first thing, we'll make our images responsive. So I'll just say image, let's give it a width of 100% and height, let it be auto, so that the aspect ratio is maintained. Okay, now image container, we want it to be grid, so for that we'll say display grid, and then we'll have to say grid template columns. For now, let's say 1FR, 1FR, 1FR. So what that will do is that will create 3 columns. And there we go. Let's add some gap between the grids. So we'll say grid gap of 1 time. Okay, let's see if this is responsive. Is this responsive? Yeah, it is kind of responsive, but we always have 3 columns. Okay, now if we want more or less, and then we want to make that part also responsive, so let's we can do it in grid. So let's just try and do that. Let me again move it to the right. Okay, one thing, let me just close everything. Okay, now instead of writing this 1fr 3 times, we can also use repeat function. So let's say repeat, and then you can say 3 comma 1fr. So nothing changes. If I make it 2, then we'll have 2 columns. Okay, well, I mean this already starts to look good, right? What do you think? Comment below. Okay, let's make it 3. And then let's say instead of 3, okay, how should I put it? We can do, there is this thing called autofill. So that will kind of adjust the number of columns that we want. But then, okay, we need to specify like what do we want, how should you go about sizing the images. So here we can use a min max function, and the min max argument, min max function takes 2 arguments. First one will be the minimum value. So for now, let's say 400 pixel, and then here we can say 1fr. Okay, so then nothing changes when it is when our page is of this dimension. So current dimension is how much? This is 747, right? And it can't accommodate 2 images because our minimum image size is 400 pixel, right? But if I size it a little bit more, then it accommodates 2, because now dimension of our web page has increased more than 800 pixel, which kind of is enough to accommodate 2 images. And then if I go even more bigger, then after a while it can accommodate 3, because our dimension is more than 1200 pixels. So I think that's all for this video. Let me know what you think about this design. I think it looks very nice. It looks very simplistic, minimalistic, and overall the look and feel of this page is really nice. Let me know, what do you think? We can also add some interaction, micro interaction on this image, when you move the cursor, and a little bit of sizing happens, but that's fine. Okay, so I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye bye.